Miss Horizon, kailangan ka maghanda kasi ang ating Pilipinas ay pwedeng bisitahin Bagyo, Lindol, pagsabog ng bulkan at tsunami. Maghanda ka at palitinin yung mga mahal sa buhay at isama mo na yung mga listeners.
Good morning, Miss Horizon.
My name is Horizon Chaser. Good morning.
Happy morning, Miss Horizon Chaser.
Happy morning, Horizon Chaser. Miss Horizon Chaser.
Happy morning, Miss Elyson Chaser!
Alright, thank you so much, Risa. Ang cute-cute mo dyan sa pagbati. At marami ding salamat sa lahat ng mga government officials natin na patuloy po na nagtitiwala dito sa ating programang Happy Morning Show at sa mga sumusubaybay po dito sa ating programa na makabuluhan at makatotohanan hinggil sa sensya at teknolohiya. Alright, so pagpatuloy sa nagharap na Metrology Day ng ITDI-DOST at narito na nga ang presentation ni Mr. Elyson Kit Encarnacion hinggil sa metrology and packaging and food safety. Ano nga ba ito? Naku, yung mga mahilig dyan kumain ng candy na regular na kumakain ng candy, yung wrapper nito, naku pala. At alam nyo po ba, sa isang wrapper lamang or isang 1/10 na tinatawag or 80 times na concentration, ay nako, hindi na rin pala ito ganun ka-safe. Kaya alamin natin yan. At yung mga materials na ginagamit, yung mga metal, syempre mahilig tayo dyan mag-microwave. Ano nga ba ito? At yung mga pinapasok natin sa refrigerator. Di ho ba yung mga mahilig gumawa ng Spanish sardines? At yung mga, nako, marami dyan organic nga pero nako na makontaminado pala ang mga ito, yung ilan dyan. Kaya hindi naman ito sa ito way nagbibigay tayo ng tamang impormasyon sa tamang paggamit ng mga materyales. Yung mga plastic. Di ba nauso nga daw po yung pag naubos yung ice cream, tapos yung box nito, ay iba naman ang lalagyan, ang paglalagyan, inilalagay yan sa ref. Ito nga ba ay tama na ma-recycle natin muli? Di ho ba? At yung mga migration at yung napakadami po nating matutunan dito kay Mr. Encarnacion. At ito ang DOST at ang ITDI or sila lamang po talaga ang nagbibigay ng tamang impormasyon para po dito kung paano tayo maging safe sa ating mga kinakain o mga negosyo na ginagawa po natin kasi ang mga Pilipino napaka malikhain na mga pagkain, di ho ba? Pero wag naman po natin yan gawin kapag mali-mali at sangkot na yung kalusugan ng ating mga kababayan. At syempre kumakain din naman po yung ating mga anak, di ho ba? O ating mga mahal sa buhay. Kung wala pa naman tayong anak, marami tayong mga minamahal. Kaya sana mas maganda may alam po tayo. So, alright. So, ito na po yung pagkakataon natin mga kababayan na alamin natin itong mga bagay-bagay hinggil sa packaging, yung mga materyales na ginagamit. Ano ba yung mga kontaminado na mga recycle na dapat pa ba natin na uulitin na gamitin. Alright. So, narito na si Mr. Elyson Kit Encarnacion na isang supervising science research specialist ng Packaging Technology Division ng Department of Science Technology ITDI. Okay, so tuloy-tuloy lamang sa pakikinig.
Speaker is equipped with a bachelor's degree in chemistry and master's degree in environmental science from the University of the Philippines. He is one of the country's pioneers in metrology, particularly in the fields of inorganic and environmental chemistry. He facilitated the production of several inorganic reference materials and provision of accuracy-based proficiency testing schemes for local laboratories before he transferred to the Packaging Technology Division. Currently, he is the laboratory head of the Packaging Testing Laboratory and oversees the conduct of researches on packaging contaminants. Here to discuss metrology in packaging and food safety, Mr. Elyson Encarnacion.
be focusing more on the packaging side since this is my area of interest. However, it should be noted that also apply in both food and also packaging. And let me just remind you that products used in this presentation is not any way to advertise or to discredit, but for the sole purpose of lecturing. So let's begin. Okay, so in 1996, a 3-year-old girl was found to have high levels of lead in her blood. So when health agencies tried to investigate, they found out that this girl was regularly consuming one of the famous Filipino menthol candy, just what candy. It's actually one of my favorites when I was here. So unlike here in the country, in the US, they have already set a limit for lead, which is 0.1 ppm in lead in wrapper. So what happened was that when they analyzed 1/10, just 1/10 of the wrapper, they found 80 times the concentration of what was considered safe. So what happened is that, as a result, the US FDA requested the Filipino company to pull out the products in the international market, so that resulted sort of damage our economy as well. But they also had to sell the company, actually half of the company, and they had to rebrand the candy. So fast forward to today, so around 3 decades later, unlike in food where we already have a lot of standards, we have a scarcity of standards with respect to food contact or packaging materials. So in fact, we only can name around 2 at most. So the first is on bisphenol A from infant feeding bottles. And the second is the voluntary certification of food contact articles. So let's just note that the word here is voluntary. So companies are not mandated or are not allowed to, they can have their samples tested, but according to their preference. So DOST-ITDI started with initiatives on food contact safety. So the first is we created a safety team. So it's a group of champions under the Packaging Technology Division that facilitates studies on food contact materials and articles. The second initiative was we were able to coordinate with FDA Philippines regarding the profiling of contaminants in local food contact materials and articles. So in fact, this was what Sir Admiral stated earlier, since FDA is the one in charge of regulations with respect to prepackaged foods. So when we had this meeting with FDA, they were actually very interested. They expressed interest that they wanted to profile the local food contact materials nationwide. So since nakikita niyo po sa previous, we're only 5, medyo malaki-laki yung pang nationwide. They want to profile all the food contact articles. And hopefully we'll be able to draft, to assist FDA to be able to draft the guidelines. And finally, the third initiative of DOST-ITDI is when we were able to commence our own researches on food contact materials and articles. So the first one, to name a few, is epoxidized soybean oil. So this is ESBO. ESBO is known to damage the uterus in laboratory rats. So they were found in glass bottles with metal closure. So they sort of leach out of the enclosure, and since it's oil, it's organic compound, they tend to seep into or to dissolve in products that are oily. So what can be named as oily bottle foods? We have our Spanish sardines, we have our peanut butter, we have our chili garlic oil. So just to name some. Also, we have a research on total organic contaminants in reused, repurposed, recycled, reheated, and refrigerated plastic. So we know that the Filipinos were sort of very resourceful, right? So in terms of reusing, like when in our refilling stations, we reuse the plastic containers, and in fact, we only dispose it kapag sira na siya, right? So ilang beses, like when this when we put the water inside the blue container, how is the migration of contaminants from the plastic container to the water that we are taking in? And then we also have a repurpose. So like for example, our ice cream tubs. Like when, diba, it's a regular joke in our country na pagbukas natin, pwedeng i-ice cream yung laman ng ating ice cream tubs. It could be, let's say, your tilapia, some other type of food product. Is that compatible? Next is recycle. So recycle, we also have recycled plastics. Reheated or are microwavable plastics. Every time you microwave, are there contaminants migrating into the food? Kasi diba remember, like when we use that, especially if the food has tomato sauce, you can see that the sort of stains. It already means, it's sort of an indication that there's already like a contact between the food product and the container. And also refrigerated plastics or frozen, when you also place it in the freezer. I know there are several people also that put microwavable plastics in their freezers because they wanted to look organized. But microwavable plastics in freezers are, usually they become brittle. So that's actually one of the things. It could possibly lead to migration of contaminants. Also, we have our phthalates in plastic packaging. So phthalates are carcinogenic, cancer-inducing, and since they're plastics, how about our milk tea lovers? We also have yung ramen lovers. So that's one of the studies. And finally, one that is closer to my heart is because it's our project is the perfluoroalkyl substances, so PFAS. And what's interesting about PFAS is that it's vaccine suppressing. So in this time of pandemic, or also about children na kailangan ma-administer ng mga vaccines. So if it's vaccine suppressing, then the effects of the vaccine could be lowered down, lalo na if we try to order, let's say in paper packaging, mataas yung concentration of PFAS, and then there's actual migration, then it could possibly lead to the suppression of the vaccine. So kasi yung mga paper packaging natin sa mga take-out, delivery, we have our pizza, burgers, burger wrappers, sa fries. So this is our actually our food contact safety framework. Nandun pa lang po kami sa left side. Medyo malaki po yung bubunuin natin. So hindi ko na rin i-discuss the entire framework, but we will go to a specific pathway. So this is a closer picture of the one of the pathways in the framework. So here, we can actually see how metrology is very important in this pathway. So like for example, in terms of method development and validation, we would be needing food contact certified reference materials. So certified reference materials are materials of known concentrations. We have uncertainties, and kadalasan kasi, ang meron tayo are CRM on food, yung food yung tinitest. But how about packaging? If alam natin nagkakaroon din pala ng migration from the packaging to the food. So this is something that we hope our National Metrology Division will also be able to address so that we can also have reference materials on food contact. Second is on migration study. So yung kanina po kasi, we try to analyze the contaminants in the actual packaging. Pero we are studying how the contaminants are migrating to the food product. So there is a study called migration studies wherein we are now exposing the packaging to the simulant. And simulants could be, let's say, we have simulants for aqueous food, we have simulants for oily food, for alcoholic. So we have different simulants for different types of food. Kasi if we're going to use actual food, it will be very complex to analyze. So we're just using simulants. In fact, we also need certified reference materials here. So for example, here we have a certified reference materials from abroad, which is plastic film, which is in olive oil. So this would like to mimic the contaminants migrating from plastic to some oily food. And also, for food contact safety, we need to have traceable measuring instruments. So we have our National Metrology Division calibrating us so that we can go directly to the SID. Now, finally, to end my presentation, so there are several advantages of metrology in food contact safety. And in fact, Nia may already discussed some of this. So first is to provide accurate info on packaging and food and beverage products. So like for example, our net weight, when we declare an incorrect net weight, then the consumers will not feel that they have been cheated on. Second would be concentration of nutrients, minerals, vitamins, and additives, so that we know as consumers, am I getting the right nourishment? Third, expiration date, so that we know when to consume the food product or the beverage. And third, storage conditions, so that we know we can actually put our food or beverage at the right environmental conditions. Second is to prevent the adverse effects on the public's health and safety. So just like similar to our case study earlier, so that someday there will be no more reports of a girl having, 3-year-old girl having high levels of lead in her blood. Third would be to avoid product recall. So imagine the case earlier also where our Filipino company pulled their products from the international market. So this, hopefully we will no longer experience this and damage the economy. Fourth is to penetrate regulated markets. So in the West, they have already established limits for particular contaminants. So finally, our industries, if they will be able to conform to this, will be able to enter these markets, and we will have a higher, let's say, GDP. And last is to protect the environment. I have included this partially because I'm also environmental science, but also because we know that one of the, let's say, garbage or trash in the country is really packaging. So it's quite mismanaged. So imagine if a packaging that has high levels of contaminants is, let's say, binaon siya, or it was placed in a landfill, then contaminants can leach and contaminate the ground. If the packaging would be taken to the seas or sa rivers natin, then the contaminants will migrate to our bodies of water. So, and I guess I was able to highlight everything that the advantages of metrology in our food contact and also environment. And with that, thank you very much.
And now to discuss PT schemes supporting food safety and quality, let me introduce our next speaker, who holds a master's degree in chemistry from the University of Santo Tomas. He is currently working as a team leader of the organic analysis team for the chemical metrology program on organic contaminants in food and water. He is also well-versed in the design, planning, and provision of proficiency testing schemes and preparation of reference materials. And now to discuss the PT schemes supporting food quality and safety, let us hear from Mr. Aaron C. Dacuya, Registered Chemist and Science Research Specialist 2 from the Standards and Testing Division.
Ensuring food quality and safety. So, however, measurement results are only good if they are
lapit po kayo ng salpas. Okay.
Program, Technical Committee on Mass and Related Quantities. He is also the Philippine representative to Asia on Automatic Weighing Instruments. To introduce the field of metrology, may I call on Mr. Ethan E. Sagan.
Dito, action. Good afternoon. My name is Raquel Remorque from NML and I am under the Volume N Flow Standard Section. So, i-discuss po natin is yung quantity inspection ng liquid packages or products. First of all, ano nga ba yung pre-package? So, yung pre-package is any product or commodity in which its value is predetermined and indicated on its label before offered for sale. So yung ang value ng ating pre-package ay hindi siya pwedeng ma-alter unless bubuksan natin yung packing material niya or may perceptible modification. So to start with, since ang role ay yung team natin is measurement supporting the global food system, so mag-focus po tayo sa liquid product.
Characterize at saka pag-assess ng mga values. So malaking investment po siya talaga. Kaya po yung metrology program, malaking budget po ang inilaan ng government ng mga nakaraang taon para ma-produce lang. Po ito, sinigurado namin siya na traceable din siya sa mga metrology institute sa ibang bansa.
Pero open.
Content niya. So kaya mas tumigat siya. Ngayon, kung bibilhin mo siya sa timbang na 465, mas mahal siya compare dito. Pero pag bumalik na siya sa 14% na which is yun yung regulation, nalugi ka. Kasi mas magaan siya pag bumalik siya sa 14%. Pero binayaran mo siya na mas mahal dahil tumaas yung moisture content.
Alright.
Ano tawag maganda na naka-vacuum pack siya?
Kung sinusunod nung nag-re-retail yung 14% na regulation. Ngayon, walang nag-check po nun. So yun ang ng National Metrology Act. Ay yung bill na ginagawa.
Yun ang isa sa kahalagahan. So protection din yun sa mga consumers.
Consumers at saka sa seller. Kasi posible pagka naman sobrang dry, nadulugi naman si seller kasi kailangan niyang damihan yung isusupply niya sa'yo para ma-make
So ayun po ay, marami po tayo matutunghayan ngayon kung gaano po pala kahalaga yung mga measurements kahit mga skalang pagkulay na pitak na ating buhay, katulad na lamang po ng mga pagkain. So talagang po mga ginagawa natin ay basta may kaakibat ng sinusukat ay napakahalaga po pala yan. Kaya tuloy-tuloy lamang sa pagsubaybay nitong napakahalagang okasyon ngayon dito sa ITDI. At ito po ay makakatulong sa ekonomiya ng ating bansa. Ang gaganda ng mga ating
Miss Horizon, kailangan ka maghanda kasi ang ating Pilipinas ay pwedeng bisitahin Bagyo, Lindol, pagsabog ng bulkan at tsunami. Maghanda ka at palitinin ng mga mahal sa buhay at isama mo na yung mga listeners.
Good morning, Miss Horizon, ito sa ating project Buenda.
Good morning, Miss Horizon Chaser. Well, happy morning.
Happy morning, Miss Horizon Chaser.
Happy morning, Horizon Chaser! Miss Horizon
Morning, Miss Horizon, at welcome sa Philippine Textile Research Institute.